Like any Melbourneian who's not at the actual track on that day, I was at a barbecue. You know, we had our sweep and the snacks were on, and we all came in to watch the race. And we had a lot of girls in the room. The pack comes around into the 300.
Coming past the 300 metres.
You hear this kind of little bit of excitement in the race caller's voice.
Here's Prince of Penzance coming on down the outside.
Then we heard the name, Michelle Payne on Prince of Penzance. And I was like, is there a girl riding in this race? And then all the girls just went ballistic. Go Michelle, go Michelle, go Michelle, and it drowned out everything.
Prince of Penzance, it's history in Flemington, Michelle Payne.
And then when she crossed that finish line, the girls in the room just erupted. They all started screaming. And then there was that kind of wonderful moment. It's Michelle Payne, history made here at Flemington.
Michelle Payne has created history at Flemington, the first lady to win the Melbourne Cup.
While actor Rachel Griffiths was celebrating at a barbecue, funny man Mick Malloy was at the track. His money on Michelle.
It was 100 to 1. 100 to 1, and we.
How much did you have on him?
Well, I was in a syndicate with about 6 mates.
I love it. So you actually won on the day.
We won on the day. Wish I could say I cried tears of joy for Michelle Payne, but I firstly cried of joy for me, so I just won a bucket load of cash. And then I went, and how very special it was too for the ladies.
What an incredible chapter has been written here in the history of the great race.
It wasn't just the groundbreaking ride that grabbed our attention, but the feisty young jockey who seized the moment to champion women.
Just want to say to everyone else can get stuff because they think women aren't strong enough, but we just beat the world.
You can go get stuffed, a lot of you, which is my catchphrase. She's doing my material.
I first met Michelle when she was still on a high from that incredible race, still reliving every moment in the saddle on Prince of Penzance.
He sprinted like I couldn't believe. He let loose, and I've never yelled at a horse so loud in my life. When I went over the line, I just took a deep breath and I just was like, you have just won the Melbourne Cup. It was so surreal. It was a dream come true.
And by her side on that memorable day was her brother, horse strapper Stevie.
To see Stevie to lead me in was probably the most special moment, I think, of the whole race. When I got off and I was able to hug him and I said, you helped do this, you picked Barry one, this is us together. And he had tears in his eyes, and I've never ever seen Stevie emotional ever in my whole life. And I was like, oh my God, don't lose it. That was the point where I thought I might cry.
She takes off the goggles, and it was one of those kind of, oh my God, and she's beautiful. And then Stevie runs out onto the track. I was like, oh my God, who's that? Oh my God, it's her brother. And then she gets off the horse and tells everybody that if anyone doesn't think women can beat the world, they can get stuffed because women can do anything. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm in love. This is the greatest Australian sports film ever made, and I want to make it. Which is probably a little bit arrogant and stupid of me. But here we are.
And it was all here on that day.
This was it. It was a beautiful day, sun was out. It was one of the nicest days at the Melbourne Cup ever.
Rachel knew nothing about racing and she'd never directed before, but she was determined to bring Michelle's story to the big screen.
When did you two first meet?
We met in Sydney.
Yeah, in Randwick.
Yeah.
I stalked Michelle. My friends, I was still trying to get Michelle's, people to line up a meeting, and my friend Dominique in Sydney just said, Michelle's going to be at Randwick this weekend. And I said, OK, I'm going to do it.
Rachel convinced Michelle that her story was in good hands. Stevie thought the movie was a great idea.
It's a pretty big deal, isn't it, to have a Hollywood movie made about you guys?
Yeah. A little bit overwhelming.
Yes, I like to say he's going to play he.
You going to play yourself?
Dunno.
Think it'd be a good idea?
Maybe.
Would you do it?
Yeah. Why not?
Otherwise, who's going to play you?
Yeah,
Do you need acting lessons or have you got it sorted?
got it sorted.
Is it the quintessential Aussie sports story?
I think it is. It's a fairy tale, it's racing, it's outdoors, it's colourful characters. I think racing's a fairy tale. And 100 to 1 shot with a woman on board for the first time, it does have all the elements. It is a bit of a masterpiece of fantasies. Everything conspired on that day for a result that will echo throughout racing history.
Like a girl is used by so many boys as an insult. You throw like a girl, you run like a girl, you catch like a girl. Well, in this film, we want to kind of claim that back and say, like a girl means winning.
And just like Michelle, Rachel is a winner. Her career took off 25 years ago when she appeared in the much-loved film Muriel's Wedding. She went on to conquer Hollywood, earning critical acclaim and a swag of awards.
Yeah, we're taking over the world. I think we're paying America back for all those bad actors they sent us during the 80s.
I had the most extraordinary time in America. You know, it was a decade of being in the A game as an actor, but I always felt I was telling these incredibly American stories and kind of faking that I understood them. And they never sat entirely comfortably. So coming home, you know, my big hope was that I could come home and tell Australian stories.
And there's nothing more Aussie than an underdog winning the Melbourne Cup.
Prince of Penzance, history in Flemington, Michelle Payne.
Michelle's brother Stevie was her strapper that day and was there to cheer her on to victory. Together, they defied the odds.
Stevie Payne, you're the man of the moment. You drew the barrier one for her.
Yeah.
What a proud moment.
That was a great moment. It's a great win. It's a great ride. 10 out of 10.
The bond that she has with Stevie is so special, and I think we captured that love, that absolute no-limit love that they have for each other.
That bond was obvious when I sat down with Michelle and Stevie when the film was first announced back in 2016.
Who should play Michelle?
No idea.
Who's your favourite actress?
I gotta say, Adam Sandler. I don't know who you'll be in.
Like female actress.
Oh, female actors. No idea.
Hi, I'm Michelle Payne. I'm a jockey. I'm available for track work.
Was it tough casting the role of Michelle?
Teresa Palmer was my #1 choice. She's gutsy. I know she's got heart. She's beautiful. She was riding every day before she arrived for months. In pre-production, she was out on the track every day.
Nice and quiet, thank you. Yes, it's almost your turn.
And the decision to cast Stevie as Stevie was just as easy.
Teresa Palmer totally fell in love with Stevie, and I think a little vice versa.
Can I do this?
I know the horse can. You've got to be a champion.
Look, actually, everyone does their best work with Stevie. He has a kind of a magical effect.
Who's going to look after you if you're paralysed?
I will.
Did Stevie love it?
Stevie loved it. He loved being in the makeup trailer. He loved the endless supply of bacon, eggs and food. And, I think he loved the girls always, around him. And Stevie's just used to being with a big group of people. So we as filmmakers, it's a family.
Stevie was one of 10 children raised by legendary horse trainer Paddy Payne. Michelle was the youngest. She was only 6 months old when their mother Mary died.
I did hear stories that after Michelle lost her mother, that there was an idea that a man couldn't possibly manage all those children, and that perhaps, someone should take 3 or 4 or 5 and make it, easier. And Paddy said, no, we're going to stick together. So hats off to him.
What did you learn about the strong bonds in the Payne family?
In this family, you had to work if you wanted to eat. If you wanted attention, you had to ride, and if you wanted respect, you had to win. And it's It's a wonderful message, I think, as a contemporary parent, where we do so much for our children, that you realise actually when all the children have to work to stay together, that brings a family together, and maybe that's the biggest gift you can give your kids.
What sort of jockey would you like to be?
I just want to win the Melbourne Cup.
All set to go for the Melbourne Cup. Stand by for the race that stops the nation.
Paddy watched 8 out of his 10 children become jockeys, but it was his youngest, Michelle, that would bring home the ultimate prize.
Well, well, well. What about that? Who would have thought so? Who would have thought so, little girl?
It's a great family story, but at its heart is a father-daughter relationship. I'll tell you this, I came out of that film and the first thing I thought was I really wish I had a daughter. It was so moving, and it was such a wonderful film.
Michelle come last, Dad.
Yeah, I noticed that, Steve.
Michelle come last, Dad.
Thanks, Steve. That's it, Stevie.
Sam Neill takes on the role of stoic dad, Paddy.
Dad, please, just tell her.
I did try to do that once. Didn't work out so well.
You can have an A-list actor like Sam, but he still needs someone wonderful to play with. And that's just so clear in this film. He makes everyone better.
We boom boom Dr. Turk.
He kind of steers the film. Him and Mick Malloy.
How'd she run?
Yeah, clean of the wind, big strong action on the straight.
All right, we'll take her round again. Easy. Another pain, eh?
Yeah.
Is that tap ever going to be turned off?
Mick Malloy plays an old-school horse trainer, resistant to the idea of female jockeys.
Well, I put on 20 pounds for the role. Yeah, they didn't ask me to. I just decided. I thought that would be a good idea. They wanted, what's my character? How would you describe it? He's like an overweight, nasty misogynist, which fortunately falls within my very narrow range. Wasn't a stretch. How's your dad?
Good. Yeah, good.
Say good day to him for me.
I really need not actor faces, I need character. I need men to kind of embody, not in a bad way, but to embody the Australian male, which Mick totally brings.
I think some arsehole racing types, I think was what she was looking for, which I delivered in spades.
Who's that riding your horse, Betty? A woman jockey.
The girl's never going to win the Melbourne Cup, mate.
Get off me! Get back to where you belong!
You must be exhausted.
Work twice as hard and get half the ride.
Dad, show the phone!
And as much as this story is about family, it doesn't shy away from the dangers of the sport.
I've lost 2 of them, Father.
It is a jockey story, so if we didn't capture how insane and dangerous riding is.
No horses were injured in the filming, but the star, Teresa Palmer, almost was.
Her horse got spooked and just took off. And unbeknownst to me, this horse had raced at Flemington some 4 years earlier, and he had a little flashback. And he thought he was back in the game, and he took off just full gallop. Needless to say, she hit the grass, so we heard her come off, and she was fine. And all the jockeys that day basically gave her a guard of honour on the way home. God knows what would have happened.
And the real dangers jockeys face every time they ride has been driven home this past week with 2 deaths in as many days. Melanie Tyndall was killed in a race fall in Darwin, and apprentice jockey Michaela Claridge died in a training accident at a Melbourne racecourse. The tragedies are still under investigation. Michelle hasn't made a decision when she'll stop riding, but one thing's for sure, Stevie will be with her all the way.
Is she your best friend?
Best friend, forever. Can't live without her.
Can't live without me?
No.
Oh, that's nice. Can't live
Definitely
without you.
Do you reckon she could do it again?
I think she could.
Life has been quite a ride for Stevie and Michelle.
He's just having an absolute ball. He loves taking in all the crowd, and he's really getting them going, so it's just fantastic. I think he was made for this.
They've shared the stage together, and now with the film opening on September 26, they're back in the spotlight once again.
Who's the biggest star out of the two of you, do you think?
Dunno.
I think they might love you more than me, do you think?
Not too sure. Wait and see.